Hello again, and welcome to the Never Not Working podcast. As always, I'm your host, Will Basko, and today I am pleased to announce I have a good friend of mine, Seth Ure. Seth, thank you for joining the show.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Will. This is always fun to chat, which is kind of how I think about these. It's just you and me being buddies and chatting. So it's
Absolutely.
always a good conversation.
Just two guys talking, right? So, a little bit about the show. If this is your first time watching, this is literally about connecting people to one another. So, Seth is from the great state of Utah. So, we're going to go down a little bit of his life story of how he got where he's at, and then, just talk that out, and a little bit about him. He is the founder and CRO of a brand new company. I can say brand new, right, Seth? It's
Yeah.
called SetSale. We'll talk about that. But again, this conversation is about connecting people with Seth personally and professionally. So, Seth, again, thanks for the time today. So, tell us a little bit about Seth Ure. Yeah, like I said, you live in Utah, but man, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. I do live in Utah. I was born here, and then we lived in Vegas for about 10 years, and then we came back to Southern Utah for my high school experience. So I'm basically from Utah, but spent a good bit of time outside of it. Yeah, so I live here now. My wife's family, my wife's like from Utah, and so that's why we end up coming back. I was in Houston for about 6 years, and we were in China for 3 years, and we kind of been around a little bit, but ultimately, my wife wanted to be close to family. It's like I was talking to a guy who said, in your early marriage years, you end up moving to where your wife's family is, and then in your
Absolutely.
later married years, you move to where your kids are. And so we're in the first stage, move to where your wife's family is. I don't know what the second stage looks like, when we move to where my kids are, wherever they are. But
I really like that you just skipped over China. You're like, yeah.
uh,
It's almost like it's almost like you said China, like Florida for me.
I I am LDS, so I'm Mormon, right? So I did a Mormon mission when I was 19, and I went to Hong Kong. So I was in Hong Kong for 2 years. I learned Cantonese and a little bit of Mandarin, and that was, candidly, that was an awesome experience. It was super fun. And so I did that. And when I got back, I thought, I spent 2 years, a crap load of time and effort learning this language. I should do something with it.
Sure.
And I was planning on doing a JD MBA, like a law degree and an MBA. And so I did that. And I figured, you know what? Why don't I go into international law? So I applied for a program called an LLM, which is like an advanced law degree in Beijing at a school called Tsinghua Daxue, which, for Chinese people, they're like, oh my gosh, Tsinghua is such an amazing school. And nobody in like America's ever heard of it before, right? But in
Yeah.
China, it's like
Right.
the Harvard of China, right? So I went to Tsinghua. I worked with a firm called Kingwood Mallison's doing like foreign direct investment and cross border M&A, and learned a couple things. I did learn Mandarin while I was there. So, that was good. I also learned that my wife really, really doesn't like living in China. That was the primary takeaway. So we did that for a year, and she'd been telling me pretty consistently for 6 months that she was miserable. And we had two kids. And then one day I got home, and she had purchased three one-way tickets back to Utah. She was like, "I really hope you'll come with us, but you know, I don't want to live in China anymore."
Yeah.
And I was like,
Yeah.
"Okay, I
So
get
me and
it.
my wife,
I understand."
kind of did the same thing. We moved to Mississippi, so third world
Uh-huh.
country.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But that was my China story. That's actually why I pivoted out of the law, because at that point I had to find something in the US, and I had a couple older brothers who were attorneys, and they're both just like, get out, don't do law, get out, go to the business side. Law's miserable. And so, and my experience had sort of validated that. And so, yeah, that's when I got picked up by Daikin. My older brother was good buddies with the guy who was a COO at the time.
Okay.
And I told him I was ditching the law. He put me in touch with Sam Bickman, and that was that. I ended up getting recruited to Daikin. I knew nothing about HVAC. In fact, I was like, "What do they do?" In fact, I got recruited by Goodman, and then they became Daikin like a month
Sure.
later, basically, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's how I got into HVAC. Totally accidental. Had no way of knowing where it was going. definitely wasn't my plan. I thought I was going to be doing some big, sexy international legal type stuff. Then you
Yeah.
find out it's neither very big nor sexy. It's just a lot of hours. So I don't regret it. I'm really glad I left and came to the business side.
So you moved from China to Utah, or did you move to Houston?
No, I moved to Houston.
Okay.
Yeah. So we moved to Houston. We were there for 6 years. I got picked up by EGIA. And then so I left, sort of the manufacturing side of it. I did supply chain and procurement and managed a bunch of stuff there. I did some software implementations, was sort of in on the project team that helped build out that new factory, and then moved to the marketing team for a couple of years, managed all the outdoor splits product. So it was sort of like a really good overview of the entire value chain in the manufacturing side, right? Because you see
Yeah.
like the product when it comes in as raw material component parts, and you see how it gets, transformed and value add process through manufacturing and what that process looks like. Then you're on the marketing side doing product lifecycle management and getting into distributors world. And then you go on to home improvement finance. And now like you're straight in the middle of like the distributor and contractor world. And so did that for the last, what, 7, 8 years or something like that. So I don't
So
know. It's
yeah,
been a weird path, but
yeah, it's
a good
really
one.
yeah, really cool from China to Houston to end up in an industry that you're still in, uh, that you literally saw from the first screw to the install. So that is really cool. So I guess how long? So you're the founder of the set sale, you and a
I am.
partner, right?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
And tell me his name.
His name is Asaf.
Okay.
So
So
Asaf Weinberg.
So tell me how you got from Good Leap, because we worked together over here at Good Leap, and then
Uh-huh.
when you branched out and started this company,
Uh-huh.
how did that enter the brain of someone that can speak three languages?
The way that I got to Good Leap was I had started I'll spare the details, but we ended up launching our own platform called Gainer Partners. And Gainer was essentially a training and a finance company, but we acted effectively as a marketing referral company. So, we'd sign people up for financing, we'd get them trained on how to use it, then we would capture a certain number of bips in the middle every time they used it in perpetuity. And so the idea was let's just build this up and build this up, right? And it was a great model, right? Like it actually was working really well. We're adding good volume. And we went to add Good Leap to the platform as one of our lender partners. And we end up getting recruited and hired into Good Leap as well. So, and sort of, we got compensated for in an equity type deal, And so that was a good transition, actually. There are times I've looked back and thought, man, why did I do that? I'd be making so much more money if I just kept my own business. But I'm actually real grateful to Good Leap because they gave us an opportunity to come into something like the very beginning when there was nothing and really structure like the go to market strategy. What was the approach that you wanted to take it? And we really just took the same training, like training as the product and then financing as it just slips into my sales training. And we, just migrated that straight over to the Good Leap. And that was really how you productized something that is usually very commoditized. I mean, there's nothing more fungible than money, right? You
Sure.
can't differentiate a dollar from a dollar. And typically in this industry, contractor doesn't care where the money comes from as long as they get it. Homeowner doesn't care where the money comes from as long as they get it. Distributor doesn't care where the money comes from as long as they get it. Like the money is completely interchangeable. So when you're talking about the only differentiation is rate and term, that just becomes a race to the bottom unless you've got some other value add that you can actually productize your finance offering through a training offering. And so that was kind of the approach that we took, and we brought that to Good Leap. And I think the results kind of spoke for themselves. Good Leap's a great product, good technology, all that kind of stuff. But I really feel, I feel pretty strongly that a big part of that success was a function of that approach that we brought, which was, hey, this isn't just a lending product. We're going to come in and retrain all of you guys. We're going to show you how to actually sell effectively and intelligently with financing. So this is more of a sales product, but you just have to have my loan product in order to make it work.
Perfect.
And that's a better approach, in my view, than just here's your rates, here's your terms, here's your fees. What do you want to do? Right? Like that's a very flat approach, and you're not likely to pick very many people up. So,
So
yeah,
so you took
I didn't answer your question.
no, you kind of did, because you took the program and said, hey, the program's good, but how about let's figure out how to make it a little bit better and
Correct.
more usable.
Well, many of the training products that we built when I was at Gainer, which were at that point really just like tons of formulas in Excel and but ways that help contractors grow their business. I saw how contractors ran their business. I thought, oh my gosh, guys, let me help you. So I just started building out these Excel sheets to kind of like automate their pricing and their options and how to offer IAQ into it and how to build in financing and how to build in commissions and just kind of like, I just thought, man, let me help these guys. And so I just started building out these spreadsheets and giving them away to people. And after a while, people were like willing to pay for them for the spreadsheet. I thought, man, if somebody's willing to pay for a spreadsheet, that tells me there's a product here because this is not that complicated, but
Sure.
it is at the same time it is. And so that was really the beginning, candidly, right? And I had over the years I'd talk to different developers and see if they can help us, and they couldn't. So when I met my current partner, Asaf, he was sort of like this unicorn. I mean, he's like brilliant. He's done product, he's done tech, he's done business side consulting, sales. I mean, the guy is just one of those people that when you meet them, you're like, that guy's freaking smart.
Sure.
And
That's how I
so
feel about you, Seth.
I appreciate that. That's not how I see myself. So I saw, I meet Asaf and I'm like, okay, this guy, he might be the real deal. And so, essentially to share the vision with him, he bought in. He really built the tool for the most part. He converted what was, a series of Excel spreadsheets and sort of like an approach to market and stuff like that into a selling tool and, added a lot of value to it. And of course, I contribute to that process. But yeah, that's how it happened. We had something we were kind of sitting on. I knew it was a good product. I had confidence in it, but I needed to find the right person to build a partner because I'm not a developer. You know,
Sure.
I,
Yeah.
I'm a subject matter expert in the HVAC industry,
Yeah.
and I feel like I have some good relationships and could bring something really cool to market. But I needed to meet the right person to make it happen.
Yeah. So that's what this is about. So if you had a magic ball right now, so you
Hmm.
got set sell off the ground, you're hiring people, you're building a team over there, which is really good. What would you tell a contractor out there that's trying to use set sale or to know about set sale? What
Yeah,
what exactly um does that look like?
yeah. The goal is really just to simplify and idiot proof the selling process. Like all of the crap that contractors don't like doing, let's just make AI do all of that. Like, does anybody really like managing their equipment list?
No.
Yeah, manually entering, make AI do that then. Does
Sure.
anybody really like having to like redo all of the calculations in your spreadsheet every time you get a new price list to figure out what you're going to charge for every single one of these matchups to the homeowner? Does anybody like that? No. Let's make AI do that. Okay. What about the process of manually building out multiple options and manually plugging in IAQ and manually adding in the financing fees and all of that stuff, and then having to type up descriptions of each product? Does anybody enjoy doing that? No. Let's make AI do it. Like it's as simple as that. What are the things you really don't like doing, and you probably feel like you kind of suck at them? And then what are the things that you do enjoy doing and you feel like is your strength? So for most contractors, what they like doing is they like building a human connection with the customer, with the homeowner, right? Let's build a human connection, establishing that value. They're really good at doing high quality installs. So build your relationship, install your product, but rely on AI to take care of all of the background data stuff. Because the way I see it is we have a data problem in this industry and we have a sales problem. And if you solve the data problem, you solve the sales problem,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So all SetSale does is it enables a salesperson to go in there and say, hey, I want to quote a 3-ton heat pump C cabinet upflow. Create, boom, 5 seconds. Here's 4 options, all built out fully, in a beautiful format that's very minimalist, has sort of like an Apple feel in terms of like the design. And just you know, here's always going to offer 3 IQ options, always going to offer financing with a low monthly payment, always going to build in all of your parts and pieces costs that is accurate to your thing, always going to, structure this and have the AI draft up all the descriptions for it. So the stuff that takes, the way I see it, AI should make your life easier, not harder. And so when I hear people talking about, you got to build AI into your contracting business, and then the process is like really hard, it's like, that's not how you use AI. It should make your life easier, not harder?
Yeah, well, especially in the industry that we're in, where technology, even on the heating and air side of the world, some people still don't embrace.
Yeah.
So change is hard. You know, a lot of people are still wanting that beer can cold world of, hey,
Uh-huh.
you know, what's a vacuum pump?
So much simpler.
Yeah. You're meeting a need for sure. So far, how has the embrace from the industry been to the product?
Yeah. Um, I should knock on wood as I say this because I don't want to jinx it. But so far, we've been pretty darn fortunate. We've had a really good response. Um, yeah, it's been really positive, frankly. It's a really fun product to talk about. It's really fun to talk to contractors about it because you show it to them. And I was like, hey, you know what? I'm not even going to say anything. I'm just going to show you exactly what this thing does. And then you show them how it generates that proposal with four options and literally, like, on average, it's 6.9 seconds. So you were like, okay, that's cool. Like, okay, I'm interested. You got my attention. Show me how this works. Right. So that's a really, that's a cool thing to show because it really like blows people's minds. It's been a really warm reception. We've had some really good success so far. And I mean, we have to execute on all that success. We got to continue to support all those customers. Um, but yeah, so far we've been real fortunate.
Well, from the outside looking in, it looks like you're doing a phenomenal job. I've heard so many good things. I've seen bits and pieces of the product. I really need to be
Mm,
in front of you. I know that we've been back and forth trying to get a time on the schedule for me to see it. But yeah,
yeah.
everybody that people that have seen it are blown away by it. So you've done a really good job there. Um,
Thank you.
so what's next for SetSale? What are you needing on the connection list of, you know, manufacturing, distributing, contracting? What do you need? Like it's again, magic ball here, never not work
Mhm,
cast. Who do you need to
mhm.
connect with, or who does SetSale need to connect with?
One of the parts to set sales, so part of it is a contractor tool. And part of it is there's a secondary tool that's a distributor tool that allows distributors to directly integrate their pricing and inventory into their contractor's environment. Because as we know, price changes create a lot of friction. And so if you just push a button, all of those price changes seamlessly flow directly into your contractor's selling tool. That's a huge upgrade.
Holy,
And they can see at any given point in time exactly how much is in stock. So they're not selling stuff that's not in stock. And that's a really nice, that's a nice connection. That alone kind of makes contractors sticky to a distributor because that takes a lot of the manual friction out of their day-to-day processes. And so I guess from my perspective, who I would love to meet with is different distributors, especially independent distributors who have the ability to actually make decisions on things like that. I find sometimes with like OEM owned distributors, it takes a long time until they got to run it up the chain and the manufacturer's got to sign off on it. And don't get me wrong, I would love to work with manufacturers directly. But I just think those are very big companies and they take a very long time to move. And I'm patient and I'm confident that in time I'm going to work with a lot of these guys.
sure,
But I'm not so naive as to think that I'm going to close a relationship like that in 2 to 4 weeks, right? That's just going to take time, and they're going to have the proof points from the field. But really, like, yeah, just big distribution partners. We've got a few of them. It'd be great to get some more. So who would I like to meet? Mingledorf's is actually one I would love to meet. They're a great company. Every time in fact, I've done this a number of times, and a lot of people have been like, Mingledorf's has got to be using this, right? Like they're really forward thinking. Actually, I haven't even talked to them,
I know a
but
guy.
it sounds like I need to.
All right. Yeah, so I spent
Uh,
15 years in Mingledorf, so I know a couple people over there.
okay, well,
So,
yeah,
so there you go.
yeah, just a lot of the independent carrier guys or trained guys, I'd love to talk to them. We talked to a number of independent Daikin guys, and they're great partners. And so, yeah, I guess distribution partners are awesome to talk to. Manufacturer partners. I mean, I'd love to talk to the people at trained carrier Daikin who can actually pull the trigger on this. And we've had some sort of conversations with them, but they haven't been. I wouldn't say we've had like really meaningful conversations, frankly. Um, and so I think it could do a lot for them. So yeah, that's who in a magic ball, that's what I'd like to do. I do feel like a year from now we're going to be in a very different position than we are right now. It's funny because when you start a company, like you have this long period where you're just trying to gain traction, right? Like you're trying to get people to notice and to show them your product and show them what you're doing and get that attention. And then at some point you hit this point where you actually like you have their attention and then you start going, like that, right? And we're just
Right.
barely on the tip of that. I can feel things turning like this. And so, and we've had pretty good traction even up until now, but I just feel like a year from now, we will probably look like a completely different company. You know, we have 9 employees right now. I suspect a year from now, we'll probably have 30 or more. Um, because of just, I think the product we have is super unique and it's cool. And so, yeah, anybody who's like forward thinking, who wants to move the industry and like see it grow and adopt AI in really meaningful ways that are super cool and simplify the entire process, like that's who I want to talk to. And it's 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 fun to win, you know? Like this is a winning product. It helps people a lot and it's fun to win. It's fun to talk to people who want to win and who want to grow. And so that's who I want to be introduced to. People who are fun, who are exciting, who want to grow, who are interested in seeing where is this market going to be 5 years from now. That's who I want to talk to because those people are interesting and they're imaginative and they're really creative and you can build some really awesome crap.
Well, hopefully somebody out here watching the Never Not Working podcast can say, "Hey, I know a guy. Let me get in touch with Bill or Seth." So, yeah, we're gonna help you along the way there. So, I know that the Set Sale program, like you said, has tons of AI built into it. So,
Uh-huh.
what do you see in the future of AI, man? Is it here to stay? Is it going to be our Terminator that kills us all? Uh, it's so scary to an old man like myself, but but it is helping. Like this podcast has a
Yeah.
ton of AI built into it because if not, this Southern redneck would never be able to edit this thing. So, tell us a little
Yeah.
how you grasped AI and knew that the set sale product needed that. Or
That's a really good question.
yeah, or just tell us how the AI is changing the industry. Will salespeople ever be out of a job? That kind of thing. Because that's what, everybody's talking AI is gonna just solve everybody's problems and everybody's gonna
Mhm.
sit at home and watch TV, I guess. So
I don't believe that. I think we live in a market economy. And I think that if AI solves your problems, that means you don't have a job. Right.
sure.
So I heard a CEO said, he said, all of the easy tasks are now totally automated. They're gone. All of the hard tasks that you did in your job, those are now the easy tasks. And all of the things you consider to be impossible, those are now the hard tasks. So you need to kind of like level up and upshift your expectations for yourself and for what's possible. What I find, and not generally, but in this industry, I see a lot is a lack of creativity and imagination around what AI can do for your business and what it can do for you. So many people, it's like, are you utilizing AI? Oh, yeah. We've got a chatbot, or we've got a phone system that answers with AI. Or, we have a search function that we plugged into our CRM, and now we search our CRM with AI. Like, those are such shallow adoptions of AI. Like, you think AI can do just about anything a person can do. It never sleeps. It never forgets anything you told it, and it costs you a fraction of a penny. So if I told you that you could employ 100 people for a fraction of a penny, what would you do? You'd hire 100 people immediately, right? You would train them on how to do all of your stuff. And it also makes like when companies acquire other companies, one of the problems they talk about is tech debt. And what tech debt means is making all of these systems talk to all of these systems, right? Because there's a whole different set of systems. And so merging two companies gets really challenging. One of the things that AI does is it does field mapping like a pro, which is a big part of how you do this integration. And so AI makes integrations and field mapping, make different pieces of technology talk to each other. Boom, so much faster, right? So I just think AI is definitely coming. I think if you're a salesperson in this industry and your goal is to stay in this industry, you should also get like cross trained into being a tech because there will always be a need for a human connection, but if the only thing you offer is a human connection, that needs to be paired with technical expertise. So I think that the times of people coming in the industry, knowing almost nothing about HVAC and going out and selling $22,000 systems, those might be coming to an end. The other thing I see is that with all of the inflation and PE entering the space and all this money coming into the space, what we've seen in the cost of an HVAC system is price inflation. And that has happened over the last, 5 to 10 years.
Yeah.
The cost of a system in the last 5 years has nearly doubled.
Yeah.
So the cost of the system has doubled in 5 years. That's not sustainable. People's wages have not doubled in the same 5 years. It's
Well,
not sustainable. So what's going to have to happen is people are going to have to find ways to bring those costs back down. So when you see like all of these graphs that show like, oh, AI is going to save, 75% of the time in this type of a profession and 82% of the time in this profession, it's going to make these people that much more efficient. What you should see is that's efficiency savings. That's efficiency gains, which equals cost savings. So if you're capturing those cost savings and you're actually plugging them into your business, that means you can now reduce your cost because your overhead just went down.
sure.
So the person who figures out how to use AI to strip out all of this inflation that's been going on in the market for the last 5, 10 years is going to be a big winner. And nobody wants to talk about cost. Oh, it's all about building value. It's about building value. And that is true. I'm not going to take that away. Like you've got to build the value. But at some point, when you're selling somebody a $28,000 system and they're making $62,000 a year, that's not about building value. There's a hard stop when you hit a certain level of economics,
Sure. Yeah.
right? So, I mean, let's come on back down to reality. Yes, we want to sell high efficiency systems and we should be offering them every single time. And we should be sweetening them up with the rebates and tax credits and anything we can throw on there to make this more attractive. But price is always going to be a concern,
Yeah.
right? Like supply and demand is the iron law of economics. That's not going anywhere, right?
Yeah. Nothing wrong with profit, but taking profit to a different level is scary sometimes. So, um,
Yeah.
well, something you said there, we talked about our industry, how it hates change, it's scared of change. Then you still made the comment. You said, "Yeah, we do AI. We've got a chat bot," which to these contractors is the world changer. They're like, "Oh, this thing doesn't even have to. I don't even have to have anybody answer the phone. Somebody's answering the phone for me, and it's all AI." So they're thinking that they're to the level that they need to be, and they're just barely dipping the toe in the AI. Is that what you're saying,
Oh,
really?
let me give you just a small example of what a meaningful AI utilization actually looks like, right? And I'm totally biased because this is actually my tool I'm going to describe, but I think it's an example of how AI actually can do way more than what people give it credit for, which is, with our tool, you take the way people load their pricing is they take their price list and they drag and drop it in, the price list from their distributor, and in 60 seconds, it's all loaded. Okay. No more manual data entry. So 60 seconds AI reading it, uploading into the system. You set your price drivers, you're answering about 10 questions, and it takes you about 4 minutes. Once you've done those two things, you have effectively priced every single job you will ever offer to a homeowner in about 7 minutes,
Yeah.
maybe five.
Yeah.
Okay. Then when you say, give me this system, now the AI looks at your equipment list. It goes into the HRI database. It pulls in all of the matchups that would fit this specific house based upon how you spec'd it. Then it goes through a decisioning process and it picks out the 4 best matchups and then prices it and builds it into a 4 option proposal for all 4 of them that guarantees you a greater than 20% net profit. Like that's a meaningful AI deployment because really what AI is doing is data transformation. If you think about it, what we're really paying for is data transformation. I have all the sources of data. I need it all to convert into something that's usable for me. So that's the way to think about AI is where do I have all kinds of data that I can't do anything with, but I know that buried in there is all of the stuff that I need. Right. That's the way so
Yeah.
if you just conceptualize AI as data transformation from this great big unusable format into something that's discrete and easy and usable, that's an effective AI integration.
Yeah. It's just an easy tool for them to one, and it would help them probably with their profitability because there's no huge. Well, it it minimizes human error.
Of
Uh,
course.
because and then it's like on the distributor side, would it work? So let's say that you did get land a, let's say Mingledorf, just because that's the name that we threw out there.
Sure. Yeah.
Uh, would you work with their e-commerce side to so
So that is on the roadmap.
okay.
So the way it works in that situation, this is how we have it planned. And we don't have this today, so I just want to clarify that. But
Okay.
we
All
will have this in the not too distant future, which is, you know, contractor uses SetSale, they go out and make a job. The customer, the homeowner goes through the digital checkout process. So they're like selecting their own stuff. They're building their own system basically.
Yeah.
And then when they hit select, it takes them into a digital checkout process, which they can do with you there or without you there. So they e-sign their documents and it takes them through a financing process, right? Well, what you can do is, and where we're taking this is that as soon as they e-sign their documents, we already have the HRI matchup. We have the exact model numbers and we have the exact cost from the distributor. I can convert that into a PO and place it straight back to the distributor just like that. So I'm effectively tying into their e-commerce system so that every sale that contractor makes, if you've got a distributor integration, is going to get placed directly into a PO back to the distributor.
Cool. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. It is.
So
There's so many cool things you can do,
yeah.
so many cool things.
So I know we talked about it a little bit. So what is the next s- what's the next step for set sale? I mean, what's your vision? I know we're looking at it from a 30,000 foot view here, and we're not
Hmm.
we're not going through a demo for sure. But just
Sure.
tell us
Yeah.
what's next for set sale.
Um, a lot of growth, frankly. The way that I see value creation in this industry is in connections, integrations, like relationships. So the number of relationships that you have really defines the value that you bring to the industry as a technology company, I should say, because there are so many pieces of technology that just are standalone, standalone, standalone. Like I went to um, a conference maybe 7, 8 months ago, and I counted all of the different AI solutions that were in the conference, and there was a lot of them. And if I said, okay, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to implement AI in my business. There would have been at least 8 or 9 different AI solutions that all don't talk to each other and they're not talking most of them to your CRM. And so I'm implementing 8 different islands. Okay.
Yeah,
And I've got to, and the cost would have been like nearly $10,000 a month to pay for all of them. Like, okay, that's not going to work, right? Like the AI entrance into the space, all the new entrants, like it's ripe for consolidation. Like
yeah,
it needs to be built out, right? And so the way I see it is, look, if I can create relationships with, I mean, we're already integrated with ServiceTitan in House Call Pro, right? But if I can add the other 2 or 3 top CRMs in there, maybe we get a Pazer and the Field Edge and I don't know, Field Pulse or something like that, right? Breeze or something. And then if I can also do integrations with numerous distributors across the country, now what we have is we're integrated with the people you're working with, the contractor. So instead of you having to try and implement 40 different things in order to make effective AI, you pick one thing and that thing is already talking to all of the stuff that you do. And that's really, really easy for a contractor to adopt. So if I can get appropriate lender integrations with different finance companies, CRM integrations, distributor integrations, potentially manufacturer integrations, then what I'm doing at every step, every time I do that, I make the contractor's life easier. Because now the information that I would get, let's say from my distributor that used to be like a PDF, they're emailing me or all these emails, boom, it's all just going through one place.
right.
It's now tied into my set sale, opportunity. And now I've got it all in one place. And now everything's flowing seamlessly back up into Service Titan. So that's still one source of truth. If my lender is integrated directly into set sale, I'm not having to pop out of it and pop into 7 different systems to do all this stuff. Just one system. Keep it simple, stupid.
One
So
stop.
that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I see for the next year. Like I suspect, by the end of 26, I anticipate having about 1,000 contractors on the platform. And I think that's pretty doable. And so that's where I think we go. I really want to grow the platform. I want to scale it. We want to get more contractors utilizing it. And we've had great growth so far. And I think we're basically on track to hit that number. But I really want to partner with distributors, manufacturers where possible, and let's just connect everything. That's the beauty of AI is like all of this disparate data that makes your company so freaking hard to run. Let's just connect it all and let AI take care of some of that crap so you can run your business and not have to focus on all that jazz that you hate.
Perfect. Absolutely. So for anyone listening that wants part of set sale, what
Go to setsale.ai. It'll say book a demo. Click right into it. That'll put you on my calendar. All
perfect.
right. So yeah, book a demo, setsale.ai. You can also email me, seth@setsale.ai, and we'll get you taken care of.
We'll have all that in the body of this episode. Um, so we always go down this road. We talked a lot about professionally. So
Mhm.
personally, who would do you think that you would want to connect with? So this is episode 3. My first episode was Patrick Lane,
Hmm.
his business modification group, and he wanted to meet
Hmm.
some peanut farmers, which
Hmm.
lined right up to me. And then Tucker Green wanted to meet Donald Trump and JD Vance. I can't help him there. So I'm still waiting on that email from somebody out there watching this that knows how personal. So personally, on the personal level, and I asked this question for one reason. My superpower is connecting people. So let's
Hmm.
if it's Utah Jazz tickets. Hey, I know
Hmm.
I want to do that. So this is my I know a guy segment of the show. So who would you want to know in that realm?
You know, I think about my relationships maybe different from the way a lot of people think about them. I once heard Dennis Prager say, he said, when I go to hire somebody, the first question I ask is, are they a good person? And then the second question is, are they highly skilled to do this job? Because if the answer to the first question is no, then I don't care about the answer to the second question. And so I feel that way. And I remember in college and they'd be like, this is the networking event. And I always thought like networking to me feels like, here, let me go find people who I can selfishly use and try to pretend like I'm their friend so they'll give me something and then I can get something out of them. I hate that feeling. Like, are you
Absolutely.
kidding me? Why convert me into some kind of like a networking whore where all I'm just trying to do is think about myself and get money out of people? I really hate that like approach. And so I sort of adopted a different approach, which was, when I go to an event, I just try to meet one or two people that I think I can be legitimate friends with. Yeah, I just want to meet people who I consider to be good people, who I just feel a connection with. I'm like, I just want to be friends with them. And then even if all I do is have a friendship and I'm able to help that person and I never even get anything out of it other than the friendship, I'm okay with that. Like that was a very successful event or conference, because I made a new friend and eventually like I'll be able to help this person and maybe they'll be able to help me. That'd be great if they were. And if they're not, that's okay too. Like I hate to see relationships as completely selfish. Like, how do I monetize every relationship that I have? Right. So I just think, who do I want to meet? I like meeting good people. Like I like meeting people who have strong moral character, who are disciplined in their lives, who are raising a good family, who are doing all of the things outside of work, like independent of work, who are doing the things to become a good person, right? Because I care way more about people's moral character than I do about their wealth or their technical knowledge or anything like that. I care about that stuff in the sense that it affects me. But who do I personally want to meet? I want to make friends with people who are high quality individuals. And, you know, what I love doing, I would love to find someone who's like really into like pheasant hunting or like go do some hog hunting down in Texas or some deep sea fishing. If I could find one of those people, we'd go play and do stuff like that. That sounds freaking awesome too. Right. But,
Absolutely, man. Great answer.
so that,
Great answer because I love helping people. That's why I get into trouble of trying to be friends with everybody.
mhm,
But I literally I want to help I want to figure out Seth's um, need and try to fill
mhm,
the need. So I am guilty of that. But man, great answer, man. There's nothing wrong with being um, genuine. And that's the day that I met you, man. I knew you were a genuine guy. So I
thank
appreciate
you.
the friendship on that. But man,
Yeah.
thank you, man. Any final words you need to throw out for Set Sale or personally before we jump off this episode?
I every time a contractor trusts me to come make changes in their business, which is, that's effectively what we're doing with that sale. I'm saying, hey, just trust me. Let me try to make some changes and I promise it'll make your business better. Right. Every time a contractor trusts me or a distributor trusts me to help make their distribution, location better, I just feel grateful. I'm just like, thank you for trusting me. Like, I promise you, I'm going to do my absolute best to come through on everything that I've committed to you. Doesn't mean you're perfect. Sometimes you're like, oh man, I feel like an idiot now because we kind of screwed that up. But fortunately, it doesn't happen too much. But I'm grateful anytime somebody trusts me enough to like let me help them in their business. And so I guess if there's a contractor listening to this or a distributor or somebody who feels like we could be a good partner, um, thank you in advance for trusting me. I would love to work with you and just see if there's opportunities and if it's a good fit. So Um, Always open new connections.
Awesome, man. Man, thank you for your time. And again, thank you for being the genuine guy you are. Thank you for your friendship, man. Thank you for jumping on here late at night to do this with us. But man, for everybody here at the Never Not Working podcast, just want to again thanks to Seth Ure. If you need any information, it's going to be in the body of this video here on YouTube. Um, uh, but by all means, please click and subscribe that bell so you get notifications from us. But as always, I'm Will Basko, and for Seth Ure, we're never not working. Thanks a lot, guys.